Hi folks, Shogalog here. I have some breaking news for you which I heard on Radio 4 only this morning. It concerns the latest chapter in the Me Too saga that has been rumbling along since October of last year, which has seen a large number of mainly women accusing celebrities of rape and sexual assault in years gone by, and every accusation is accompanied by the hashtag #MeToo on Twitter. Take a look at this article in the Boston Globe. It reports that a movement has been set up called Time's Up, which aims to help and encourage any women to make similar accusations against any man, not just celebrities.
Driven by outrage and a resolve to correct a power imbalance that seemed intractable just months ago, 300 prominent actresses and female agents, writers, directors, producers, and entertainment executives have formed an ambitious, sprawling initiative to fight systemic sexual harassment in Hollywood and in blue-collar workplaces nationwide.
Expect to see the Time's Up hashtag all over Twitter in the coming months. What does Time's Up entail?
The initiative includes a legal defense fund, backed by $13 million in donations, to help less privileged women like janitors, nurses, and workers at farms, factories, restaurants, and hotels protect themselves from sexual misconduct and the fallout from reporting it. Legislation to penalize companies that tolerate persistent harassment, and to discourage the use of non-disclosure agreements to silence victims.
The article does not say where these generous donations have come from. Presumably the initiative itself can't pass the legislation, that will be for government to do, but some of the money will, I imagine, be used to campaign very vigorously to get the laws passed.
A drive to reach gender parity at studios and talent agencies that has already begun making headway. And a request that women walking the red carpet at the Golden Globes speak out and raise awareness by wearing black.
I'm guessing that gender parity means that the Time's Up supporters will only be happy when 50% of all directors, producers, camera operators, floor runners, dolly grips, and the countless other people involved in making a movie are women. We are told that this drive is already making headway, but my suspicion is that it's probably only at the vague promise stage. From what I've read, Hollywood is deeply conservative, not because they are opposed to women on principle, but because they are controlled by the need to make a profit. As such, they would much rather stick with what they already know, and that means male directors and producers, and so on, who have a proven track record of success. It will be a brave and foolhardy film studio that takes a chance with an unproven and brand new director simply because she's a woman.
Called Time's Up, the movement was announced on Monday with an impassioned pledge of support to working-class women in an open letter signed by hundreds of women in show business, many of them A-listers.
Well, I heard on the radio that Meryl Streep is getting involved. There can't be many actresses higher than her on the A-list, but who else has signed this letter? The article includes a list of some of them. Ashley Judd has become involved. You'll remember her as the woman who made the nasty woman speech in reaction to Donald Trump's election. Also Natalie Portman, Kerry Washington, and Reese Witherspoon. And those are just the women that I've heard of.
Time's Up also helps diffuse criticism that the spotlight on the Me Too movement has been dominated by the accusers of high-profile men, while the travails of working-class women have been overlooked. This was highlighted in November, when an open letter was sent on behalf of 700,000 female farm workers who said they stood with Hollywood actresses in their fight against abuse. Time's Up members said the letter bolstered their resolve to train their efforts on both Hollywood and beyond.
It's true that many have claimed that these women who accuse famous men of abuse are simply doing it in order to grab a small piece of the spotlight, and because news media might pay them for an expose against a rich and famous man. I can see how this initiative might go some way to addressing that. So what should we make of all this? Well, it's easy to dismiss this as virtue signaling, particularly when such high-profile women get involved. It's not as though people like Meryl Streep haven't virtue signaled along with the best of them in the past. However, the story does say that the first meetings of Time's Up took place in October, about the same time that Me Too began. This, coupled with the open letter in November, rather suggests that the movement has been simmering away on the back burner for several months now. If it were simply virtue signaling, why hasn't it broken the surface before now? Personally, I'm inclined to believe that the grassroots support for Time's Up is probably genuine. That's not to say that celebrities haven't seen it as an opportunity to virtue signal by attaching their names to what they hope will be seen as a worthy cause. Just because the bandwagon has been rolling for a while now doesn't mean it's traveling too fast for these individuals to jump on it. There is also the possibility that many people believe that Me Too has run its natural course, and that the movement is starting to run out of steam and deflate. They might see Time's Up as a way to inject new life into the flagging movement, and keep the show on the road for a while longer. However, what bothers me is the very nature of the Me Too movement, which will presumably be carried on to Time's Up. Me Too effectively takes the form of a witch hunt. It consists of allegations appearing in the press and on Twitter which are not backed up with any evidence. Of course, the media are careful to cover themselves by putting the word allegedly into every article, but even so, the accusations are still out there. Several of the accused men have caved in and apologized for wrongdoings in the past, and this has fueled the attacks even more. The attitude seems to be that if we can put enough pressure on the people in the dock, they will simply crack, admit their guilt, and justify the whole campaign. However, most of the accused men have either remained silent or have vehemently denied any guilt. There is very little evidence in any of these cases, and what evidence there is often suspect and considered fraudulent. Few police reports have been filed, and many of the accusations are being made beyond the statute of limitations anyway. Effectively, these people are simply throwing mud at any celebrity within range and hoping that some of it sticks. Very little has, but even so, countless men have had their careers destroyed simply on the say-so of some female accuser. As far as the film and television studios are concerned, there doesn't need to be any evidence. The mere accusation is evidence enough. This being the case, do these witch trials need any more encouragement? Now it looks as though men who aren't famous will be dragged into the whole sordid affair. At least when people like the actor Jeremy Piven vociferously denied the allegation against him, the news media listened and reported it. When John Doe, who stacks supermarket shelves for a living, does the same thing, he will be thrown out of his job, and no one outside his immediate family will ever hear of it. Until he tries to get another job, of course. Then the whole matter will resurface. No. While there are undoubtedly some genuine accusations, and the guilty men need to be exposed in those cases, on the whole Me Too has been a negative thing. Too many innocent babies have been thrown out with the stinking, putrid bathwater. For that reason, Time's Up is one prospect that I do not look forward to with any pleasure. In fact, it fills me with dread. Shock out.